Would you say we're in a bind? I mean, because you seem that, first of all, you're proposing that we have amendment to the Electoral Act again to go into electronic voting.
Full blast.
You're also asking that, we reduce the perks of office. And it would seem that some of these things, or most of the two things you asked for majorly, cannot be done outside the Constitution. We'll need to see what it is we can do with that. Yet, we depend on the same lawmakers whom you don't seem to have any trust for to do it.
We have seen the people's power. In landlord and tenant law, the landlord has the reserve right of the property. The tenant has possession. When you leave the property, the man owns his property, even if you have damaged the windows or the doors. You understand? The Constitution reserves the absolute and ultimate powers for the people. All these other people are representatives, our agents. We are their principals. If Nigerians resolve, when the temperature becomes the same, because that is what I have always said, if the people in the north are a boiling point of 45 degrees C, and people in the south are at 55 degrees C, and southwest is at maybe 60 degrees C, and southeast is at 80. Nobody will agree. It takes temperature to bring all the condiments in a pot of soup to make a soup. So when all Nigerians begin to feel the same pain and the same heat, the language we'll be speaking will change, because when water is boiling at 100 degrees C, it does not speak its own language. The language is imposed by that temperature.
Some people will argue that we're already, in certain areas, and in fact in many areas, we're already feeling the temperature in terms of poverty. Gradually,
it has not become intense. By the time we start quaking, nobody will tell you what to do. You begin to quake from your room outside, because you would rather not die inside your room, that you need to hang your life on somebody else.
We need to wait for that.
Well, that is our circumstance. Because those whose mouth are on the milk now, drawing it, will not want to remove their mouth. The other ones angling, they say they are making noise. Until the milk is removed and everybody is starving, then we'll talk the same language.
Let us localize this now. We're talking about elections in Rivers State, and it was seen that there seems to be a tendency towards violence, from what we've seen so far in the South states. Are the South states being painted in bad light, or is there something particular about them that makes it look as if elections there are do or die?
Elections in Nigeria generally is violent, prone, because of exclusivity of the contest. If you win, you don't even say, you don't acknowledge good morning from the other person. You run him down and, if possible, decimate him, because your eye is already in the next 4 years. So use these 4 years that you have to deal with him. While he himself will also be, because the ant is too small, but he can disorganize a very big anus, until the day you can't get yourself, as small as it is. And he knows how to locate it. So those small pockets of violence will kind of, make you uncomfortable in your governance process. The only solution is justice. That people should see others as human beings. Everybody has a unique feature and unique experience. If you begin to table your experience here, perhaps 2 textbooks will not take that.
Where's the place of the police in all this?
The police.
I need to go back there, because we have come to a system, or it's turning into a tradition now, that you get to see election in some places in the country. We are swapping the commissioner of police, or moving some other officers from one place to the other. Sometimes they say because politicians will want to accuse that police that has been there,
compromised and all that.
It still sometimes doesn't give us the desired result.
All these things are symptoms of the problem we are talking about. There's no trust. You want this thing, I want this thing. Even if we are greeting, our eyes are focused on that thing we want. If you want to go further, I'll say, why are you going further? You be greeting me here. Because I don't trust you. You don't trust me. Now, the problem comes even more manifestly when the umpire is accused of being compromised. The security agencies don't need these jactitations, all the razzmatazz whenever there's election. Assign this, assign that, 100 million policemen, 3,000 soldiers and all that. It's not necessary. It's a natural thing. People should do their job. Okay? The DIG was on television warning that people who heaven will fall. Why do you have to warn? That is your job. Okay? If Satan comes here, he doesn't need to warn. We know he's here to destroy. Okay? So if a police contingent come to a place, they are there expectedly to keep the peace. You don't need to begin to warn criminals. By seeing you, they know that you are there for peace. And therefore, anybody who does anything untoward, the law will take its course. It didn't also take the president to warn. Because I should have also expected that the president should have warned on the Agatu crisis that have been ravaging, the henchmen that have been ravaging every part of this country. He has never spoken so tough about it as he has spoken about River State. Commendable as it may be, even though I do not subscribe that he should have been the one to have made that statement. It was not necessary. Okay? But he should also talk tough about Agatu, because the silence is becoming very deafening. And it is not right. So what we are saying is that all this running around, spend money, do you know how much it takes to move all these security operatives from their various locations and dislocation of the individual? Because somebody has to psychologically primed. You have to be psychologically primed before you can give out your best. You take somebody, he carries, you see policemen when they carry this suit carrier. That's their home. Then some of them will stay in the bus, a broken down vehicle and all that. Then tomorrow you expect them to perform superlatively. It doesn't happen. People should address these problems and nip it in the bud so that we'll live our normal life. If you have planned to do business in River State this week, you should forget it because you could fall victim. You know, ordinary people who want to unleash mayhem. You know, some people, if you have crisis managers, for example, they won't like peace. They will always stew up crisis so that they will be relevant. So when you have a very charged environment like militants and all that, who have been emasculated politically, this is a time to show their relevance. Called people. And some of these claims that people were killed for certain reasons must be probed. It doesn't have to be fixated on politics. Because there was the proverbial tortoise that said whenever there is riot in the market, he will kill a pregnant woman. Somebody who had been eyeing one woman that was pregnant was in the market that day and killed the woman while the tortoise could not even attend the market that day. So they came and picked the tortoise. It was only after that it was proven. So what we are saying is that there are a lot of things involved in all these political killings. People take undue advantage to even maim their opponents, not related to politics.
That is why I still go back to the police, because by now we should be talking about intelligence gathering. Information coming from the police quarter should be able to tell the people what exactly it is. And when they speak, you also made mention of trust.
Yes.
When they finally come up with any answer to the puzzle going on in River State, someone should be able to say, hey, wait a minute, this is the answer. We're getting to hear the activities of cultists. Another angle is, no, it's political. And back and forth, but people are still being killed almost on a weekly basis.
You know, they say bad news is the best news. You cannot ignore it. In a population of about 1 million or 10 million, if one person dies, it's bad news. You understand? It will make more headlines than 100 people who were promoted and who had a good time. But the police, I know the current Inspector General of Police is a very strategic thinker, okay? But unfortunately, the environment in which he is operating cannot allow him. There is a pervading atmosphere of fear. I have said it here, even the ministers cannot operate flexibly.
Why not?
Because of the fear that if you make mistake, it will be interpreted you have become corrupt. And their next destination, you know. You know the destination now? Prison. And Nigerians will clap. Now, we have become indulgent to unquestioning docility. When they say this person did this, we shout, hey, we are no longer critically thinking. And this is a time, therefore, where people can also settle scores. If I don't like you, all I need is to squeal one message in the social media that I learned that this man compromised, he received from so and so person, and you are finished. But that does not detract from the fact that there is need to deal condignly with those who have liquidated our national patrimony. And God is doing that even on his own. Because God will allow you, when you have used that ill-gotten wealth to achieve fame, then you drop from that Golan height. And that will be the end, because you can no longer correct it for life. That's what is going to be happening.
All right, we'll take a break, but we'll be back in a minute and continue our focus on the elections. But while we're at that, we'll also get the headlines on. Don't go away.